beautiful people. It is officially 1 after 7:01, and I'm gonna wait for a couple more folks to hop on the call. We are live for our 4th Healed Woman Live installment. Super excited that the Lord has gotten us through 4 of our first lives and many more to come. Hi, Queen. Come on in the room, girlfriends. Just waiting for a couple more people to jump on. This is our 4th live, Healed Woman Live. That's what I decided to call them, where we are creating a space for women to heal, to process, to detox, to identify, to learn, to let it all out, okay? We are creating a space just for you, sis, where we can process, learn, identify signs, break up with abuse, all the things, and also just prepare to step into our royal identity as queens. Healed Woman was built just for you, designed just for you, with you in mind, with my sisters, with my beautiful women of faith who are ready to take their faith to the next level, who desire to heal and break up with toxic, abusive mindsets relating to love and relationships, and to just step into their royal identity as queens, okay? So in the interest of time, we're just gonna jump right in. I am your host, founder of Healed Women Ministries. My name is Samara Barrett. I'm so excited that you decided to join me tonight. We are hitting the ground running. The Lord said, I want you to do something new as you step into year 2 of ministry, a full-time ministry, and 6 months of building a faith-based business. And I was like, okay, Lord, how else can we connect with the community? How else can we show that we are here, present, engaging? And so he placed the idea of weekly, but now bi-weekly lives on my heart. And so this is a result of that stepping out in faith. So we will be hosting Healed Woman Live every first and third Thursday of every month. So this is the 3rd Thursday of August. And so we are right on time. Today we will be discussing 5 signs it's time to leave that love that hurts, my dear, okay? As we are quickly snowballing into cuffing season, okay? Into the time of year that culture has dubbed the time to be cuffed up, booed up, linked up, okay? The time to be in a relationship simply because it's cold, or cold in some parts of the state, or it's just the time to be booed up. It's the holiday season. You need to be Netflixing and chilling with your boo. And I'm telling you, as women of faith, we're counterculture, okay? We don't do the things of the world. We don't do things according to the way of the world, which is why I am encouraging you. If you are experiencing a love that hurts, it's time to walk away, sis. We're not going to stay in that toxic relationship just because it's cuffing season, okay, my dear? So if you are a new viewer, an OG subscriber, I'm going to give you a little rundown of the ministry and we will jump right in. So 2 years ago, my world completely fell apart. March of 2020, I think we all know what we're talking about. Around the time of the pandemic, my life completely fell apart. I was overseas, brought back in 24 hours. I had 24 hours to pack up my bags and come back to the States, to a world that was quickly unraveling. A year later, I was at my lowest point, where I just broken up with an overseas long distance ex, and it was abusive, it was toxic, it was all the things I should never have been a part of. And the Lord said, I'm going to heal you, and then I'm going to empower you to do the same for your sisters. And here we are. Healed Woman was born at the lowest point of my life, but it was my test that turned into a testimony, my mess that the Lord turned into a message. And here we are gleaning from my experience, or I'm creating an opportunity for you to learn and glean from my experience, but just sharing so that you all don't have to go through what I went through, okay? And so when I share these signs, when I share these stories, when I share my experiences, they really are coming from a place of just genuinely desiring to see my sisters thrive, not only just relationships, but in their faith walk, okay? And so Healed Woman, our mission is to educate and equip our sisters to overcome toxic mindsets as it relates to love, dating, and relationships through Christ-centered recovery. So we are all about putting our faith in the gym, okay? Putting our faith to work, stepping out in faith, really allowing the Lord to test us extraordinarily, because that is how we become women of extraordinary faith, worth, and valor. My dear, tonight we are having a very vibrant discussion on how do you know when it's time to walk away from a love that hurts, okay? If you're ready, let's dive right in and start off with a quote. So it is past time to leave a relationship when you would do anything just to feel anything but numb, okay? And I'll say that again. It is past due, like it is expired, expiry date has come and gone on a relationship, okay? An intimate partner relationship or even a marriage, unfortunately. When you would do anything, my dear, to feel anything but numb. You are so numb. You are lying in a cold, toxic, dark grave of being numb, of being ignored, okay, of being mistreated, that you have grown accustomed to that environment. And you would do anything to grow disaccustomed or unaccustomed to that environment, my dear, okay? That's how you know. Big sign. When you feel nothing in that relationship, expiration date has come and gone, my dear, okay? And it is not my desire for you all to arrive to a place where you are so numb, where you are so far removed from your spirit, or you are so far removed from the beginning, the feeling of how it was in the beginning of the relationship, or you're so far removed from the idea that you had in your head of how this love was supposed to go, okay? I want to help you all avoid falling into those traps, because it's not a fun place to crawl out of a dark grave. I'm telling you from experience, okay, my dear? I was in my own dark grave, my own toxic place of being buried alive, unfortunately because of my own doing, because of my own decision. But it doesn't make it any less painful, okay? It doesn't make it any less painful, which is why I gotta tell you all, we gotta break up with abusive love way before that begins, okay, my dear? Way before you get to the point of feeling numb. Let's kick off our list with the first sign that I identify that it's time to walk away from that love, and that is there's an element of self-abandonment present. So Healed Woman has been working on a lot of really exciting projects over the course of her first year, stepping into her second, and one of them is her first book. So Healed Woman has absolutely written her first book, hopefully launching late fall, early spring next year. Come on, Holy Spirit. And so I remember talking about the element of self-abandonment being one of the 10 signs of a toxic love. So self-abandonment is essentially the act of neglecting or ignoring your own needs, okay? It is literally saying, my needs don't matter. What I need doesn't matter right now. My desires do not matter. You suppress, you ignore, you reject, okay? It can happen outside the context of a relationship, but it manifests most inside of a relationship. So for an example, people typically tend to self-abandon when you are so tired, but you keep scrolling on social media out of a bad habit, or because you have learned to ignore your body's signals saying, hey, I'm tired, stop scrolling and let me rest, okay? So that's a benign sign of self-abandonment. It's not healthy, but it's not inherently damaging anyone. It's not happening in the context of a relationship. Self-abandonment within the context of an intimate partner relationship, so a dating or marriage relationship, happens when you prioritize the other person's needs ahead of yours, but it's to your detriment, my dear, okay? It is no longer, oh, I'm sacrificing or compromising for this relationship. It is, I am literally neglecting myself, neglecting my needs, my wants, my desires, my voice, my opinion for the betterment of this relationship. And no relationship is supposed to thrive solely off the sacrifice of one person. It's not possible. It is a give and take. It is a tango. It is compromise, healthy compromise, reaching a healthy middle ground for the partner. Once you begin to enter into a space where you are literally sacrificing, giving your all, giving parts of yourself that have gone untouched, I want to say, or that have gone without being poured into for so long, you begin to forget what it's like to be poured into, to be attended to have your needs met, okay? And you begin to justify and rationalize ways that you don't need to meet those needs anymore. You may not even realize you have needs anymore. You forget what it's like to exercise your voice, okay? You become very complacent in your silence. And that is a very dangerous place to be, my dear. If you are in a relationship where the only way it is thriving is because you have become a watered down version of yourself, you have neglected yourself for the betterment of this relationship, that is not healthy. You are in a very dangerous, toxic place, not only with yourself in that relation, not only with your partner in that relationship, but with yourself, my dear. You neglecting your needs, saying, I don't matter, I don't have an opinion, okay? I don't have a say, or my opinion doesn't have weight. It goes a little bit beyond, ignoring your body's physiological signs to rest when you're scrolling for hours. It's like I'm in a relationship where I am a non-entity. And what kind of love is that for a daughter of the Most High? For anyone, really. Not just women of faith, but especially for my women of faith. God, oh my goodness. Poverty, so a spirit of lack is not your portion on this earth, my dear. So why on earth would you tolerate a relationship that is actively contributing to a spirit of poverty in your mind, that is actively saying you are not worthy, you do not deserve to be poured into, your needs mean nothing in this relationship? Because that's what you're saying when you allow self-abandonment, when you engage in self-abandonment, when you neglect your needs, when you endure discomfort, when you are self-sacrificing more, or the sole self-sacrificer in a relationship, okay? Being able to show up and be vulnerable and voice your needs and have them met, have them received, and have them accepted is incredible. It's incredibly powerful, and it is exactly what's supposed to happen in a healthy dynamic, okay, my dear? If you are allowing someone to steamroll over your boundaries and you are not standing up for yourself, you're allowing that behavior. If you are allowing someone to neglect things that you have clearly stated you need to feel fulfilled in this relationship, or you do not feel heard in this relationship, you are allowing this treatment that is not okay. You deserve so much better. You deserve so much better. And I want you to know that you deserve so much better, okay? I want you to know that you deserve the love you desire. And God has a beautiful love for you. And this is not it. God does not condone this type of behavior. Yes, I know some women are probably thinking, well, he tells us to, serve others' needs ahead of ours, or to, think less of yourself. Humility is very different than being a doormat, okay, my dear? And I really want you all to let that sink in. It's one thing to be humble, okay, to be meek, to be gentle, to be teachable, okay? These are all synonyms of being humble. But it's another thing to be a doormat, to let people walk all over you without defending yourself, standing up for yourself, saying, hey, I take up space, I matter, okay? I have importance, significance, value, and it does not come from the way you treat me. The way I allow you to treat me is a reflection of how I feel about myself. And if you are allowing people to take advantage of you in that way, or if you are unaware that people are taking advantage of you in that way and you don't know how to reverse that or how to change that behavior, I'm afraid you're in a really dangerous pattern of self-abandonment, my dear. And it can be reversed. That's the beautiful thing. It can absolutely be reversed, okay? Self-abandonment is a learned behavior, okay? It is learned, unfortunately, in childhood, where your needs were not met, okay? A parent, a caregiver implied or, showed you or reinforced that your needs didn't matter, that you were unattended to. Maybe you were the product of a divorce or a death of a caregiver or a parent, and so you lost the opportunity for someone to take care of your needs. And so you grew up thinking, I can neglect, I can move through life without my needs being met. And that is not the case. In the same way that you reinforce that behavior mentally, you can unlearn that, my dear, okay? But you've got to renew the mind, my dear, okay? You've got to renew your mind. You've got to tell yourself, I can trust myself. It's a matter of rooting yourself in self-trust. I trust myself enough to stop scrolling when I feel tired. Okay, let's go back to that original example. I trust myself enough to listen to my body when she's saying, I'm tired, okay, I need to rest, or I'm hungry, I need nourishment, okay? I trust myself enough to take care of myself, to show up for myself. Once you start showing up for yourself, my dear, there's just no way you're going to allow people not to show up for you in the way that you can honor and respect, okay? By treating yourself a certain way, you teach people how to treat you, okay, my dear? So by showing up for yourself in ways that feel pleasurable, in ways that feel empowering and uplifting, you're simultaneously showing people how to show up for you, how to show up in your life, how to be a friend to you, because you won't tolerate anything else, my dear, okay? So once you start showing up for yourself, listening to your needs, not neglecting them, and finding people who will treat you accordingly, you'll see how easy it is to walk away from or reject people who do not treat you accordingly. Does that make sense, my dear? So it is so vital that we understand the root, the spiritual root cause of self-abandonment, why you don't trust yourself, why you don't cater to your own needs, why you have learned this behavior, this way of thinking that your needs don't deserve to be met. They absolutely do. And I can assure you, once you are able to walk away from this person that does not respect or validate your needs, and you start showing up for yourself in ways you never knew was possible, you will absolutely attract someone who wants to pour into you, who wants to be the person who can pour into you, who wants to meet your needs, who wants to give you everything you've ever dreamed of and deserve, okay, my dear? But you've got to walk away from that toxic love first to be able to attract what it is you really desire, okay, my dear? So that was our first sign for those joining. That was the first sign that it's time to walk away from a love that hurts, is when you are engaging in an element of self-abandonment, okay, my dear? It's okay, and it's very healthy and very necessary to prioritize your needs, okay? So let's move on to our second sign that it is time to break up with that love that hurts, and that is when there is a marked lack of respect. So there is a lot of disrespectful behavior, disrespectful communication, name calling, insults, you name it, it's present in your relationship. I cannot tell you how awful and how foul it is when I learn that some people talk to their partners, their spouses, any type of way. It is just not acceptable. When we're speaking of respect, we're speaking of how you view other people, okay? How you hold people in high regard and high esteem, okay? When you respect someone, you admire them. You admire their work, their presence, their being, their spirit. There's something about them that resonates with yours, and you hold them in a higher regard, okay? It's not to say that they are perfect or walking around as a demigod or anything, but they have managed to be a person worthy of respect, okay? They are worthy of your attention and appreciation and respect. So when you are in a relationship where there is a lack of respect, it means that you do not love your partner, you do not love your spouse, you do not hold them in high regard, you do not think highly of them. If you are unable to praise your spouse, to find one positive thing to say about them, it could reflect on your possibly negative self-talk, okay? But it also could be that they are not a person worthy of respect, okay? It goes both ways, my dear. So let's talk about the self first, and then we'll talk about the partner. Yes, it is possible that we are so negative or that we are so pessimistic that all we can focus on is the bad, and all we do is reinforce bad behaviors by saying, you always do this, you never do that, okay? Look at how destructive and polarizing those terms are. So if you are speaking to your partner in a disrespectful way, you are encouraging the flow of disrespect back to you, and so the cycle continues. However, if you are able to turn that situation around with your mouth, the power of words, my dear, I am a firm believer in the power of the tongue, okay? The Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue. Are you speaking life over your marriage, over your relationship, over your partner, okay? Are you speaking life into the vision that your partner is bringing? So if we're healed women, we're speaking of kings, okay, our earthly kings. Are you speaking life into the vision that this king is bringing? Or is he a joker and you just have no way to speak life into him because he doesn't even believe it himself, okay? Like, let's be honest here. If we're not dealing with a king, who are we dealing with? And we cannot expect king behavior from a joker. They're on two completely different levels, my dear. So if you are, let's say we're not negative, we're not, dubious or doubtful in terms of the way that we speak to and of our partners, and it's the person who is not commanding respect, it's the person who's not worthy of respect, it's time for you to go, girlfriend. What are you waiting around for? Are you waiting for this person to suddenly wake up, come to their senses, and realize that it's time to walk in respect? You don't have time to wait around for someone to come to that realization, okay? If there is a marked lack of respect in your relationship, you all do not love each other. You all do not think highly of each other. Why would you be with someone who you cannot praise, who you cannot admire, who you cannot find one or two positive things to say about them, to build them up, to pour into them, to support them, okay? If you all are constantly bickering, calling each other out of your name, calling each other insulting names, throwing insults, first of all, that could be borderline emotional abuse. Let's be honest here. Depending on the severity and the frequency of those incidents, that could be borderline emotional abuse, especially if it is one-sided, if one person is doing all of the name calling and the belittling. And if that's present, it's absolutely time to walk, my dear. we do not stand, we do not tolerate as healed women or women who aspire to be healed, to be walking in their best season yet, to be walking as a free, healed, empowered woman. We do not tolerate abuse of any kind, physical, psychological, sexual, financial, spiritual. No. That is not our portion, my dear. That's not our portion on this earth. So it is in these signs, it is in the education and the renewing of your mind that you were able to discover what are some things that are just not okay? What are some things I'm not willing to tolerate? And what are some things maybe I can work on? And if there's no change, I'm getting ahead of myself. If there's no change in the relationship, then I can walk away. Because some of these can be improved, okay? When we were talking about self-abandonment, the first sign, it's a learned behavior, which means you can unlearn it. So you can absolutely go from a place of thinking of yourself as nothing and moving into a place of such beautiful self-love. And your relationship will absolutely shift. But if the person that you're with has been thriving off of the fact that you abandon yourself to be in that relationship, they will no longer benefit when you become a healed woman. So naturally that relationship will fall away anyway. Praise the Lord, okay? That's a blessing that you still lost that person, even though you became the person you were always meant to be. Because you've made room for who you're supposed to be with. And as it relates to respect, yes, I believe people can learn to speak their partner's love language, and that includes respect. I really believe respect is a major love language of the King, of our heavenly King, and of men, our earthly kings. Respect is how men interpret love. Men need to feel respected. But my daughter, if he is not a man worthy of respect, you do not owe him respect because he's a man. No. And if he's demanding it, he clearly does not understand how respect works. Respect is not demanded, it's modeled. You earn respect. You earn the right for me to think highly of you, okay? You must be a man worthy of respect. This must come naturally. You must work for this. Either it comes naturally or you must work for it, okay? You must be a man who commands the presence of respect and awe and admiration. You cannot demand that from someone, okay? It's honestly a gift that I give to you. And if that is lacking in a relationship, you're setting up your relationship on a very rocky foundation, okay, my dear? So it is so important that we understand how respect plays such a huge role in the dynamic in relationships. If you all are struggling to hear each other, listen, okay? If you all are hearing each other in an argument, but you are not listening, actively listening, you all are talking over each other, okay? Constantly bickering, constantly yelling, there's a lack of respect in that dynamic. If you all struggle to see each other's point of view, if you all struggle to understand each other's perspective and you're constantly putting down the other person's suggestions or input or possibly viable solutions to problems you all may be facing, you have deeper problems than whatever you're currently arguing about. You all have a deeper problem as it relates to respect, to communication, to understanding each other. Being able to speak the same language respect-wise goes so much more than just talking and hearing each other out. It's, am I understanding? Am I comprehending? Do I value their opinion? Do I even value what they're saying? And you can really tell a lot about a person by the way they listen to you and how they respond as well. My dear, it is so important that we understand how vital it is that you respect your partner. And I understand some situations may occur in your relationship that may cause you to fall away from that level of respect. If there is infidelity or a situation that really, everyone has situations or things that they won't tolerate. So maybe it doesn't have anything to do with another partner. Maybe it's a child if you all are a blended family, or maybe it's finances, or maybe it's the in-laws or parents. Situations that are really driving a wedge between you two. But if you all have the ability to still maintain that level of respect with each other, you have something worth fighting for. But if you begin to treat your partner in a really disrespectful way, or your partner has begun to treat you in a really disrespectful way, love is on its way out, I would say. Because once respect is gone, love is gone, my dear. That commitment has nothing to stand on, okay? Love is built on trust, communication, respect, okay? vital portions of the foundation of a healthy, long-lasting, intimate partner relationship. And that's a harsh truth that's a hard or a big pill to swallow. I know it's a lot to take in, so I'm kind of going slow, kind of dialing it back a little bit. But if you all are struggling in this area, I would strongly encourage you to seek professional help first. Don't just give up on the relationship. But if there's no change, if there is an attempt to resolve the respect issue, because everything else will kind of work itself out once you all address the respect and communication issue, and there's no change on the part of your partner, or perhaps you are unable to get past whatever is causing this rift, it may be time to walk away from that relationship, my dear. Because without respect, you will have nothing. You will have nothing. You can absolutely build back respect for someone, but you all both have to be coming to the relationship, coming to the dynamic in a way that warrants respect, okay? That says, I'm here showing up every day for this relationship, for us. We are on the same team fighting together. And if you all have adopted a two-team fighting against each other mentality, you've already walked away mentally from that dynamic, from that relationship. Okay, my dear? Hope you all are really grasping this. We are moving right along on our 5 signs that it's time to walk away from that love that hurts. Our 3rd sign, there is poor communication. And this really goes hand in hand with our previous sign where there's a lack of respect. If you are in a relationship, my dear, like I want to say it goes without saying, but we got to say it. We got to say it for the healed woman, for the women who aspire to heal. If you are in a relationship where you cannot talk to your partner, what are y'all doing together? I am not laughing at you. I am merely thinking about the relationships I have been in. And it's comical because communication is verbal, nonverbal. Communication is a huge way in which we bond with other people. Family, friends, loved ones, professional connections. You name it, we're communicating. We're always communicating with the people around us, okay? If you are in a relationship where the conversation is surface level, you are not going deeper. We know that that's a pretty common sign of being emotionally unavailable. But it's a little bit more insidious than that, my dear, which means it's a little bit more harder to detect. Poor communication means, or it kind of goes back to the lack of respect, the way you all talk to each other, the nonverbal body language, nonverbal cues that you all have. So it's not that there is a lack of talking, is that what you all are saying to each other is poor. So body language could be like cold shoulder. Whenever they get close to you, you just hit them with the cold shoulder. We ain't trying to hug or touch tonight. Or when they try to hold your hand, you gently pull away. And I'm not saying if you don't want to hold hands to break up with them. My goodness, no. But it's an accumulation, my dear. It's an accumulation of all these signs. It is these signs over time, and then the marked lack of respect, and then the other signs we'll be talking about. These things add up, and it puts you in a place of, what am I doing in this relationship where I am not being understood, not being respected, abandoning myself to be in this partnership. It's the accumulation of these signs, my dear, okay? So I'm just giving you some fodder to work with. So let's say it's the hand holding has stopped, and the butterflies have stopped, and the cold shoulder, and you all haven't touched each other. These are all big indicators that something deeper is going on, because your body language toward them is completely closed off. Completely closed off. So a couple that can't communicate, even through their nonverbal body language, you're saying, don't touch me, don't look at me, I don't want to talk to you, don't come near me. You may not be saying it with your words, with your voice, but you're saying it with your body. A couple that cannot communicate is destined to break up, okay? Hard pill to swallow, but we are saying it because we are here to learn, unlearn toxic mindsets, break up with abuse. I gotta give you the signs, my dear. A couple that cannot communicate effectively, healthily, is destined to break up. It is impossible to be in a relationship and you cannot communicate with your partner. You cannot express how you are feeling. You cannot share with them your heart's desires. It is not a safe space for you all to talk to each other, to dwell, to communicate, to, spitball back and forth, okay? You're not going to be talking every second of the day, of course not. But if you are in a relationship and you cannot be your true, authentic self with this person, you cannot let your guard down, you can't be vulnerable with them, okay? This is all part of communication. If you are in a relationship where you have to, what's the term, like bridle your tongue or just like hold your words, you can't be 100% honest. And we're not talking about trying to find a tactful way to say something. We're talking about you can't be your genuine self. You can't share the parts of your life that you wouldn't share with other people with this person. That's a pretty major sign that you all are experiencing some form of misalignment. And misalignment, we don't desire that as healed women. Okay, I see that the feed is doing something, so I'm going to trust that it's... Sorry about that, folks. We desire alignment as healed women, okay? We do not desire to be in a place where we are constantly misaligned on goals, visions, okay? The common goal and vision that we're working toward in our partnership, okay? Where we're misaligned on values, on our standards, on our personal beliefs. Those things are foundational to building a relationship, imperative that you are aligned. Not that you agree 100% in everything, okay? Alignment is the goal, not necessarily agreement. It's okay to disagree, it is. It's healthy, it's normal. You disagree with people you love all the time. I mean, if you all are constantly bickering, that's another thing. But if you all are largely aligned on visions, goals, dreams, your life path, your spiritual beliefs, there is a better cohesion, there's synergy, there's actual compatibility in that relationship. However, on the other hand, poor communication leads to petty arguments, arguing about things that aren't even related to what you're actually experiencing in your relationship, okay? So you all are constantly projecting your hurt and your disappointment onto each other in petty, really low level arguments, things that shouldn't even be an argument, shouldn't even be a thing if you all were having better communication. So it leads to more friction, more tension, okay? It leads to a really unhappy environment. Let's say you all have children. Children are now seeing you bicker and argue over the smallest things. And it really just leads to a really chaotic, confusing, what's the opposite of amicable household? Amicable, so it would be just a lot of contention and strife. You all are creating a really toxic environment in your relationship, in your home. It's probably spilling out to the streets if you all are, maybe arguing in the streets or going to blows. I don't know, God forbid. My dear, if this is happening inside of your relationship, you all really need to, so I'm always going to suggest seeking professional help, seeking outside help, because I really believe that some of these can be reversed, okay? If you all are having poor communication, there's a deeper issue. You all are not hearing each other. You're not understanding what the other person is saying, truly understanding the heart of their message. And you all can go and hire a coach, a therapist, a couples counselor, so that you all can work through some of these things. I wouldn't say just immediately quit because you can't talk to your partner. I will always advocate for the saving, of a relationship, the restoration of a relationship, only if it's not abusive. If this is abusive, if this sign is coupled with an element of abuse, healed women are not standing for that, okay, girlfriend? You know that. Healed women are overcoming abuse. We're not accepting it and hoping to pray away the abuse. God does not condone that, and neither do we. But if you find yourself in this situation and you have attempted therapy, counseling, coaching, whatever you all have sought out in an attempt to save your relationship, and there is still no change, the relationship is destined to fall apart anyway. If you cannot effectively communicate with your partner, what do you all have? What is the glue keeping the relationship together? And if you can honestly defend the relationship in spite of the lack of communication, then to you it's worth saving. But I personally believe, if you are experiencing that level of miscommunication in your relationship, it's not healthy. And it will not survive long term. So after you've done the searching and the digging and the healing, and it still remains unchanged, I would say it's time to walk away, girlfriend, because that is a love that hurts. Okay, moving on to our fourth and second to last sign that that it's time to walk away from this love that hurts. I see so many people have joined. I'm so glad you all are here on this live with me. Love to see new faces. There is a level of unhealthy compromise in the relationship, probably on the part of one of the parties. So probably on the woman, not assuming, but because we're all women here. This person, your partner, your spouse, makes you question or doubt your personal beliefs or standards just in order to be with them, okay? So when we say unhealthy compromise, we're talking about making compromise on a personal belief, a standard, a limitation, a boundary, okay? This person is pushing boundaries. They are forcing you to question your beliefs you've held on for a long time. And we're not saying these are toxic beliefs that you need to get rid of and they're trying to improve, your mental approach to things. This person is literally making you question your relationship with God. They're making you question your relationship with yourself. They're making you question your boundaries, okay? This person is pushing you to a place where they are probably pushing you to self-abandonment, okay? Full circle to sign number one. If there is a level of unhealthy compromise happening in your relationship, this person is probably pushing you to self-abandonment, okay? If you are a person who struggles, like I did, my dear sister, being 100% transparent with you, if you struggle with boundaries like I did, and this person is asking you to do something that, one second, I'm just trying to make sure that everything is plugged in and all systems are a go here. If this person is asking you to compromise on something that you perceive as a boundary, as no, we're not crossing. Once you get up to here, that's it, okay? And they're pushing you to do that and you struggle, okay? You struggle to set and reinforce healthy boundaries. You are more likely to acquiesce to their requests, okay? So I'll give you a very personal example. When I was with so I have had two really painful, toxic, emotionally abusive relationships in my early 20s. And the Lord literally pulled me into a season of healing after I broke up with my second ex, because he's like, my daughter, you're doing a lot. Slow down. I have someone for you. Stop entertaining these clowns and counterfeits. Let me heal you. Let me restore you. Let me show you who I am and whose you are, okay? Called me into a season of radical healing and restoration. And he said, now you're released to do the same for your sisters. So before I was a healed woman, I was an unhealed woman. I was walking around here doing all kind of crazy things, trying to get the attention of men who did not love me, who wanted to steamroll over my boundaries, okay? Who did not see me as the jewel in the crown on top of their head. They saw me as, someone to take advantage of, okay? And I always struggled with setting and reinforcing healthy boundaries. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I indulged in self-abandonment, okay, my dear? And there was always a level of unhealthy compromise in my relationships, okay? And that's how I knew this person doesn't really love me. They don't respect me. They don't respect my boundaries. They don't respect my needs. They cause me to self-abandon, to question, to neglect what I truly want in this relationship just to be with them, only to find out they don't even really care about me. You see how vicious that cycle is? It'll eat you alive if you let it. Praise the Lord, I didn't let it eat me alive. And that is what I desire for you, my dear. I do not want you all to be buried alive in, the toxic grave of how someone else treats you, okay? You are a beautiful queen. Yes, you, sister, are a beautiful queen. And you may not realize it yet, but you are so precious, worth more than rubies and fine gemstones. You do not deserve, neither do you want to be with someone who treats you less than that. The biggest sign that you are with someone who treats you less than you deserve is when you have to be a watered down version of yourself to be with them. Is when you have to start moving back when you have to start moving back your boundaries, allowing them to push further and further just so that you can be with them. Because you think your worth is attached to men giving you attention, or you think your worth is attached to someone loving you, showing you attention, affection, calling you their girlfriend. Some women will even let you put a ring on their finger because they think that that is where their value resides. Meanwhile, you are struggling to reconcile. You're struggling to reconcile the cognitive dissonance. Yes, we are coming out with all the terms right now. Okay, let me explain what I'm really trying to say. Cognitive dissonance is basically when there is a contrary state of mind happening, in the mind, okay? So actions and behaviors, or actions and words, do not line up. So you're hearing one thing, but you see them doing another, okay? So this happens a lot in abusive relationships, where they will call you, or they say they apologize. Let's go with domestic violence. They apologize, I'll never do it again, I'll never hit you again. And not even 2 weeks later, days later, they are slapping you silly. Cognitive dissonance, it creates a very confused state of mind in the mind of an abusee, someone who's getting abused, because you hear one thing and you want to believe it, but you see another, and so you want to believe that, so you don't know which to believe. And the same thing can happen with boundaries. This person says they love you, they say they care for you, they say they want to be with you and treat you like the queen that you are. They don't know how to treat you like a queen, girlfriend. And then they push boundaries, they push limits, they see how far they can get with you, not even just sexually. Of course, a large part of that could be sexually, but they're just trying to see how far they can get with you before they really have to invest in you. And by the time you realize they're really not going to invest in you, you've invested in them. There is nothing more dangerous than being in a relationship that causes you to compromise, my dear. Nothing more dangerous, because it causes a level of guilt, of shame, okay, internalized shame. Oh my goodness, I did this thing just to be with this person and I don't even feel fulfilled, okay? There's that guilt and that shame that starts to eat you alive. You have regret and resentment building inside of you toward this person, toward yourself, toward the circumstance, okay? You regret the relationship, you regret the decisions you've made, you regret allowing them to push your boundaries, to make you compromise. And then you regret saying no or saying yes sometimes. So a lot of cognitive dissonance builds up in your head and you don't even know which voice to listen to some days. Sister, that was me. That was me, my beautiful sister. This guilt, shame, resentment, regret is compounded, especially if it's sexual in nature. Especially if it has to do with your relationship with God, or if it's sexual, which go hand in hand, my dear. We as healed women believe in abstinence until marriage, okay? And if you believe in that too, and you are currently compromising yourself sexually in a relationship, of course you are going to have some internalized guilt and shame about that. And then you could be engaging in self-abandonment because now you're ignoring it, and now you're saying it's okay. Now you're trying to tell the Lord to turn a blind eye. Don't look at me while I'm having sex with my boyfriend who's not my husband. I'm not mocking you, my dear. This was me. This was me. Talking about me right here. I'm on the, I have the mic, okay? I'm putting myself on blast. And I know you all. I know this is hitting a lot of you. I know you all are resonating a lot with this right now. If you are in a relationship that is causing you to compromise sexually, if you cannot be your genuine, authentic self, let's say it's not even sexual, let's say it's physical, it's your relationship with God, this person isn't a believer and they don't want you to go to church every Sunday. Whew. And you actually start compromising on how often you go to church. If you start eating a different way, not necessarily healthier, but if you start eating in a way that they want you to eat, and it's actually making you sick, or it's, not contributing to a healthy, healthy lifestyle, or it goes against some of your personal beliefs. Like I was raised vegetarian, and my ex always wanted me to try meat, and I'm thinking, I don't even like meat. Meat doesn't even appeal to me. Why are what? And it seems so benign, but this person is making me compromise in ways that makes me feel uncomfortable. So if you are with this person based on a compromise, it is very likely that you chose them on a whim. Because there's just no way that we are consciously choosing people who make us into different versions of ourselves, low-level versions of ourselves. So when I say a whim, I mean you chose them out of haste, you chose them out of desperation, you chose them out of a place of being vulnerable. This person is now taking advantage of your vulnerable state, okay? So probably a rebound, probably right after a recent breakup. And you just decided, oh, I don't want to be alone, I can't be alone, we're going to avoid that. And you ended up with someone who is probably just as unhealthy and toxic for you as maybe your last breakup. My dear, the cycle has got to stop at some point. When will we end this cycle of jumping in and out of relationships that make us compromise who we are at our core? And while it may not be inherently bad, or if you struggle to set boundaries by yourself, even outside the context of a relationship, could you imagine how disadvantageous it is to be in a relationship with that issue? To be in a relationship where you struggle to set boundaries, to stand up for yourself. So if you struggle outside of the context of a relationship, it is just going to be exacerbated in the context of a relationship. I don't want that for you, my dear, and I know the Lord does not want that for you either. And you should not want it for yourself. You should celebrate yourself. Celebrate everything just the way the Lord made it, okay? He's always transforming us, but you are allowed to be both a product and a work in progress at the same time. You're allowed to be developed and developing at the same time, and you can absolutely celebrate yourself even while you're in development. Ooh, that's beautiful. You are worth celebrating even while you're in development. So if you are currently learning how to set boundaries, like I was a couple months ago, how to really express my needs, how to break away from a mindset of self-abandonment and self-neglect, it's okay to celebrate that. And you should want your partner to celebrate those things with you as well. To celebrate you for who you are, authentically, genuinely, okay? 100%, grade A. You, queen, you. You don't want someone who doesn't rejoice in your truth, who doesn't see you for who you are, for who the beautiful creature the Lord made you to be, and tries to water you down and get you to compromise and sacrifice on things that only benefit them. If you're with someone who is benefiting from your compromise, from your lack of boundaries, from your inability to stand up for yourself, your inability to justify and rationalize and defend your personal beliefs, it's time to walk away from that love, my dear. That is a love that hurts. That is a love that is taking from you and is not giving anything. It is not investing in you. It's not pouring into you. That is a love that hurts, my dear, okay? And it's so important that we recognize these signs, because far too many women are getting into relationships where they are maybe celebrated in the beginning, but then they are quickly made to compromise. Quickly made to compromise and settle and be a watered down, diluted version of themselves. And as healed women, that is not what we desire for you, and it's not what you desire for yourself. Say it out loud. I do not desire to compromise just to be in a relationship. And when we say compromise, unhealthy compromises, okay? There is always going to be a healthy level of compromise, but it will be mutual. Two people will be doing the compromising in a healthy dynamic. So as we wrap up, we have our fifth and final sign that it's time to walk away from that love that hurts. And this one is kind of all-inclusive. There is no visible effort or change or desire to improve or sign of improvement from your partner. So I'll say that again. The fifth and final sign that it's time to break up with a love that hurts is that there is no change or signs of improvement from your partner. If you have literally taken my advice to seek counseling, to get a coach, to get a counselor for your, for your relationship, to maybe have an individual therapist and then a couples counselor, or resources. You need resources and community and accountability, my dear, to begin to reverse some of these signs. And if you have put in the work, you have showed up, you've been consistent, you've been present, okay? You've been vulnerable, okay? You've got to get back to a place of vulnerability for any of these things to be reversed, okay? To be resolved in your relationship. And you get to a place where you realize your partner is not putting in the same effort you are. Where you realize that things change for maybe a week or two, but then they slowly slip back to the way they used to be. That's not enough. That's not effort. That's just a disguise, okay? That's a ruse. Trying to get you to believe that they changed overnight so that things can go back to normal. But normal really means taking advantage of you, being a source of frustration and stress rather than a source of peace and tranquility in your life, okay? If you are in a relationship that is causing more stress than peace, more chaos than contentment, it may be time to really cut Cut ties with that person, my dear. Cut ties before you end up compromising more, abandoning more, neglecting yourself more, okay? If you have realized an accumulation of these signs and this person has been unwilling or unable, two different things. The person was either not willing to change or to work on some of the things that we've spoken about, or they were unable to make the changes necessary for you to be pleased with their effort. It's time to walk away, my dear. What are you waiting for? For them to disappoint you again? For them to show you that they are not the person you thought they were? For them to hurt you even worse? What are you waiting for, my dear? It's time to break free. Break away from that, okay? This person obviously does not appreciate your presence, your existence in their life. They do not appreciate who you truly are. They do not celebrate you. They do not love you. They do not respect you. These are fundamental to a healthy relationship. And if these fundamental pieces are missing, you do not have a healthy relationship, my dear. You don't. And that is the harsh truth, okay? You cannot force someone to love you. You cannot beg, plead, or grovel for love. Not true love, anyway. If we are begging, pleading, or groveling, it's probably because we're so desperate for anyone's attention that we're begging for anyone's attention. But when there is genuine love, a genuine appreciation, you won't have to beg, sweetheart. And you won't have to endure a lack of communication, a lack of respect. You won't have to abandon yourself, and you won't have to, what was our fourth sign? You won't have to compromise. So, just recapping. If you are able to identify, so the fifth one is kind of like an accumulation, but any of the top four signs. So a lack of communication, a lack of respect, there is an element of self-abandonment, and there is an element of unhealthy compromise in your relationship. And you have attempted to reverse these signs, and there is an unwillingness or an inability to, on the side of your partner, or even on yourself, okay? If you're the person that needs to improve communication and you have found it impossible to do so, or you really need more time to work on self-abandonment and how to unlearn that pattern, it's also okay to walk away, take a break from that relationship so that you can heal and come back as a better version of yourself. But if you've identified those signs and tried working with your partner and it's just not there, it may not be worth fighting for anymore, my dear. It's time to walk in your truth that this relationship is doing more harm than good. It is making you question the beautiful woman God desires you to be, and it's making you live in a low-level state of mind, holding you back from God's best. Here at Healed Woman, my dear, we desire God's best for our lives, okay? We are walking into our best season the moment we say we want to become a woman of extraordinary faith, worth, and valor. We want to overcome toxic mindsets that keep us back from everything God has for us. And we want to step into our royal identity as queens. Come on, someone. And the only way to do that is to break up with what hinders you and walk into your best life, hidden away in Jesus Christ. I pray this session was really helpful for you, my dear. I pray that you were able to learn something, to take something away for your relationship, for a friend, if you tagged a friend or tagged a sister in need of these signs. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought, what you would add to the list, what your personal experience was with walking away from any of these or more different signs that it was time to break up with abuse. And let me know how you received this live. Would you like to see more like these? Healed Woman is dedicated to hosting IG Lives, Healed Woman Live, every first and third Thursday. And if there's 5 Thursdays, and first, third, and fifth Thursday of every month, so that we can create a space for us to just talk, deconstruct some very toxic mindsets, unlearn and relearn, renew our minds, and just be filled with the Holy Spirit. Okay, my dear? If you like this, let me know in the comments or by giving me a thumbs up. And I cannot wait to see you on our next live. And that would be the first Thursday of September. I don't know the specific date, but the first Thursday of September will be our next live. So share this link with a friend. You can catch the replay either on Instagram, or I'll be uploading to YouTube by the weekend. And I just pray that you are able to recognize after tonight's discussion when it's time to walk away. Okay, my dear? That is my prayer for you. And with that, I will see you on the other side of healing, my dear. Mwah. Love you, and I'm always praying for you all. Have a great day.